I want you to imagine a crime scene without violence. No blood, no broken furniture, no signs of struggle. Only silence. When the rescue vessel approached the drifting ship, the ocean was calm in a way sailors fear. The engines were running. The lights were on. The ship was alive, but the people were not. The first body was found on the bridge. The captain sat in his chair, hands resting near the controls, eyes open, not frozen in terror, not shocked, just empty. As the boarding team moved deeper inside, the pattern repeated. Crew members in corridors, in bunks, in the engine room. 14 people, all dead. No wounds, no signs of poison, no evidence of panic. Time of death was nearly identical, between 2:14 and 2:26 a.m. 12 minutes. Investigators searched for familiar explanations: gas leak, chemical exposure, carbon monoxide. Every test came back negative. Air systems were functional. Sensors showed nothing abnormal. One forensic examiner later admitted something unofficial. I've never seen death look so organized. The bodies showed relaxed muscles, calm facial expressions, no defensive injuries. Whatever happened did not trigger fear, and that was the first terrifying clue. This was not an accident. The ship's logs showed no distress calls, no alarms, no emergency procedures activated. The captain's final log entry mentioned routine navigation, nothing unusual. Yet every digital device on board, watches, control systems, navigation logs, recorded the same 12-minute gap. Silence. Audio logs were enhanced and filtered. At first, there was nothing. Then engineers noticed something strange, a low-frequency signal, barely detectable, hidden beneath normal background noise. Not loud enough to hear, not sharp enough to alarm, but constant. The ship had recently been fitted with experimental communication equipment, officially inactive, classified. The manuals included one warning: do not operate in enclosed environments with human exposure. That warning was ignored, or overridden. Neurological analysis revealed something chilling. The crew did not die from trauma or toxins. Their brains simply stopped communicating with their bodies. Decision-making shut down first, then motor control, then vital functions. They were conscious, but unable to act, aware but obedient. At 2:26 a.m., the signal stopped. 14 lives ended quietly. The ship continued moving forward with no one left to steer it. Investigators began to disagree. Some pushed for a fast conclusion. Others raised concerns about classified technology. A few asked dangerous questions. Those few were removed from the case. Families were given vague explanations: system failure, environmental causes, unavoidable tragedy. One widow asked a question no one answered. If it was an accident, why won't you explain how my husband died? Years later, the case was officially closed, but the signal did not disappear. When the official investigation ended, the silence did not. It spread. At first, it appeared only in documents that should not have existed. Maintenance logs copied twice, audio files stored under the wrong date, reports signed by people who later claimed they had never seen them. Someone was hiding something badly, and someone else was hiding it carefully. The first real breakthrough came from a source who contacted me anonymously. He worked not for the shipping company, not for the Navy, but for a private contractor whose name never appeared in public records. He told me the system aboard the ship was never designed for communication. It was designed for influence. Sound at specific frequencies could bypass conscious resistance and interact directly with the nervous system, not through fear, through compliance. The body was convinced to stop reacting before the mind could object. This wasn't about killing, he said. It was about control. Death was just acceptable collateral. Internal testing data showed disturbing results. Subjects exposed to the signal reported calmness moments before collapse, no panic, no urge to escape. The body simply stopped responding to commands from the brain. One test note stood out. Subject remains aware during shutdown. They were awake. They knew. That explained the ship. The crew had not been attacked. They had been overridden. I returned to the shipyard where the vessel had been dismantled. Workers avoided eye contact. Tools stopped moving when I walked past. One man finally spoke. "Whatever was on that ship," he said, "we were told not to touch the walls, just strip it fast." He told me 2 technicians fainted during dismantling. One suffered a seizure. The incident was reported as dehydration. The area was sealed the next day. I obtained partial sonar records from the night of the incident. They showed a second presence beneath the ship, stationary, silent, and unmarked. A submerged platform. It transmitted for exactly 12 minutes. Then it disappeared. Naval authorities denied knowledge of it. Satellite records for that sector were missing. Missing, not corrupted. Deleted. As I dug deeper, a pattern emerged across oceans and years. Different ships, different flags, different crews. Same silence, same 12-minute window. Always near international waters, always near classified maritime zones, always closed quietly. One case involved a research vessel in the Pacific, 3 deaths labeled medical emergency. Another in the Mediterranean, 5 crew members, unknown causes. None triggered international investigations because none involved visible violence. Then came the survivor. He was found alone in a lifeboat, dehydrated, disoriented, alive. His account was fragmented but consistent. He described a pressure, not a sound, a feeling of being observed internally, a moment where his thoughts slowed, then stopped. "I knew I should move," he said. "I just couldn't remember how." He survived because he had been outside, away from enclosed spaces. 6 months later, he vanished. No financial activity, no digital trace, no body. That was when I realized something important. This technology did not just kill people, it erased witnesses. I published a limited report, no technical details, no names, just questions. The reaction was immediate. Emails warning me to stop, phone calls that cut off mid-sentence, a vehicle that followed me home 3 nights in a row. Then it stopped. No threats, no pressure, silence. I requested access to a final document through an international legal channel. It arrived heavily redacted, but one phrase remained untouched. Phase 2, urban viability. Cities, crowds, enclosed public spaces. The ship had not been the target. It had been a test environment. The signal was no longer experimental. It was refined, adaptive, learning from every exposure. I began experiencing symptoms myself: fatigue, momentary loss of coordination, pressure behind the eyes. Doctors found nothing, which was exactly the problem. One evening, I slowed down an audio recording taken near a harbor. At normal speed, it sounded like wind. When filtered, the signal appeared, weaker but familiar. The same frequency, still active. That night, my recorder activated by itself. The final 12 minutes were silent. I don't know how long this will continue. I don't know who controls it anymore. What I do know is this: the most dangerous crimes do not announce themselves. They do not leave blood. They do not ask permission. They simply remove the ability to resist. If you are listening to this and feel suddenly calm, if your thoughts slow, if the silence around you feels heavier than it should, turn this off. Not because this story is dangerous, but because the signal does not need belief, only exposure. This was not an accident, not an isolated tragedy, not a failure of systems. It was a demonstration. And somewhere, right now, 12 minutes are counting down again.